Princess Zarathiel stood in the center of the great hall. Her purple skin shimmered under the bright lights. Golden jewels covered her tall, thin body. She was the most important person in the Vorthak Empire. Today was the day she would meet the beings who wanted to marry her. The hall was huge. It could hold 10,000 people. Strange creatures from 12 different worlds sat in rows. Each group looked very different from the others. Some had scales like snakes. Others looked like they were made of crystal. Some had too many arms and legs. All of them wanted the same thing. They wanted to marry Princess Zarathiel. If she picked one of them, their world would get powerful Vorthak technology. Their people would become rich and strong. "Let the ceremony begin," announced Elder Morthak. His voice was deep and loud. The hall became quiet. Prince Cathvar stepped forward first. He was from the Saurian world. His people looked like big lizards that walked on two legs. He was twice as tall as a human. His green scales were polished until they shone. Sharp teeth filled his mouth. "Great princess," he said with a bow. "My people rule 50 star systems. We have the strongest warships in the galaxy. Our weapons can destroy whole planets. Choose me and the Vorthak will have the best army ever seen." The princess nodded but said nothing. Her face showed no feeling. Next came Commander Velthos of the Ethereals. His people looked like they were made of living glass. Light moved through his body in pretty patterns. When he moved, he made soft music sounds. "Beautiful princess," he sang in a voice like wind chimes. "We Ethereals can change matter with our minds. We can make gold from dirt. We can heal any wound. We can give your people power over the very atoms of the universe." Again, the princess just nodded. Duke Morgan came third. He was from the Hive Collective. His bug-like body clicked as he walked. Forearms moved as he talked. His compound eyes looked in all directions at once. "Wise princess," he buzzed. "We are many minds, but one thought. We never fight among ourselves. We work as one. We can build anything. We can solve any problem. Choose us and chaos will never touch your empire again." More aliens came forward. Each one told the princess why their people were the best choice. They talked about their weapons, their science, their riches. Each one thought they would surely win. Far in the back of the hall sat 3 humans. Captain Jake Murphy looked around at all the strange beings. He had never seen so many different aliens in one place. Next to him sat Dr. Lisa Carter and Lieutenant Ben Rodriguez. They were the only humans in the Great Hall. "Why are we even here?" whispered Ben. "We're not trying to marry the princess." "The Vorthak invited all space-traveling races," said Lisa. "We're supposed to watch and learn about galactic politics." Jake nodded. "Just stay quiet and don't cause any trouble. We're guests here." The humans wore simple blue uniforms. Their ship, the Frontier, was small compared to the massive alien vessels outside. Earth had only been part of the galactic community for 5 years. Most aliens still thought humans were primitive and weak. Princess Zarathiel listened to each suitor speak. Her advisors whispered in her ear about trade deals and military alliances. This was not about love. This was about power and politics, but something felt wrong to her. Every alien said the same things. They all wanted to show how strong they were. They all promised to make the Vorthak more powerful. None of them seemed to care what she wanted. Her eyes wandered around the hall. She noticed the 3 humans sitting quietly in the back. They looked so different from everyone else. Their skin was soft, not scaled or crystalline. They had only 2 arms and 2 legs. They looked ordinary. "Who are those small beings?" she asked her advisor. "Humans, my princess. They are from a world called Earth. Very new to space travel. Very primitive. They have no real technology or power. We only invited them to be polite." The princess looked at the humans again, while all the other aliens stared at her and tried to get her attention. The humans just sat and watched everything with curious eyes. The one in the middle, the leader, she guessed, had kind eyes and a calm face. "Primitive," she said softly to herself, but something about them interested her. The ceremony continued. More aliens came forward with grand speeches. They brought gifts of rare metals and strange weapons. They showed videos of their great cities and mighty fleets. Prince Cathvar brought a cage with a fierce beast from his world. "This creature can tear through steel with its claws. My people have tamed thousands like it for war." Commander Velthos made a small sun appear in his hand. "This is just a tiny part of our power over energy and matter." Duke Morgan released a swarm of robot insects. "These scouts can map an entire star system in one day." Each gift was meant to impress the princess. Each one showed the power their people could offer the Vorthak Empire. The humans brought no gifts. They had no great weapons or magical powers to display. Captain Jake Murphy just sat and watched, sometimes making notes on a small device. What is he writing? The princess wondered. The ceremony went on for hours. By the end, 12 different aliens had asked for her hand in marriage. Each one was sure they had made the best case. Elder Morthak stood up. The princess will think about all she has heard today. She will make her choice in 7 days. Until then, all suitors will stay as guests of the Vorthak Empire. As the great hall emptied, Princess Zarathiel remained in her chair. She thought about all the grand promises she had heard, all the offers of power and wealth, all the threats disguised as friendship. Her eyes went back to the 3 humans who were quietly leaving with everyone else. They had not asked for anything. They had not promised anything. They had not even spoken to her. For the first time in years, Princess Zarathiel was curious about someone. She wanted to know more about these strange, simple beings called humans. Guard Captain, she called. Yes, my princess? Find out where the humans are staying. I want to learn more about them. My princess, they are not suitors. They are just observers. I know what they are, she said firmly. Just do as I ask. The guard captain bowed and left. Princess Zarathiel sat alone in the great hall thinking about kind eyes and quiet dignity. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to power than weapons and technology. Maybe there was something she had been missing all along. The next morning brought the first competition. Prince Kethavar stood proudly in the demonstration arena. Behind him floated a massive warship. It was as long as a city block and covered in weapons. Behold the destroyer of worlds, he announced. This ship can crack a planet in half. My people have built 1,000 ships like this one. The crowd of aliens gasped in amazement. Even the princess looked impressed. The ship's weapons charged up, making the air crackle with energy. Test targets exploded into dust. Commander Velthos went next. He raised his crystalline hands and the air around him began to glow. Metal bars twisted into complex shapes without being touched. Stone turned into gold. Water became breathable air. We ethereals control the basic forces of nature, he sang. Matter obeys our will. Energy flows at our command. Physics bends to our desires. Duke Morgan released millions of tiny robots. They moved together like a living cloud. In minutes, they built a perfect copy of the princess's palace, complete in every detail. We think as one mind, he buzzed. 1 billion workers with a single purpose. We can build anything, fix anything, create anything you desire. Each alien showed off their most amazing abilities. The crowd cheered and applauded. The princess's advisors took careful notes about each demonstration. Captain Jake Murphy watched from his seat with Dr. Lisa Carter and Lieutenant Ben Rodriguez. They looked small and out of place among all the grand displays of power. Look at all this technology, whispered Lisa. Some of this stuff is centuries ahead of what we have. Makes our little ship look like a toy, said Ben Jake. Nodded but kept watching. He noticed something the others missed. All these great powers came with great costs. The warship needed huge amounts of fuel. The matter manipulation tired the ethereal commander. The robot swarm required constant mental control from the Hive Duke. During a break in the demonstrations, something unexpected happened. Princess Zarathiel walked over to the human section. Every alien in the arena turned to stare. Some gasped in shock. Others whispered among themselves. Excuse me, she said to Jake. I am Princess Zarathiel. Jake stood up quickly. Your Highness, I'm Captain Jake Murphy. These are my officers, Dr. Lisa Carter and Lieutenant Ben Rodriguez. Please sit. I want to ask you something. The princess sat down next to them, ignoring the shocked looks from everyone around. What do you think of these demonstrations? Jake looked surprised. They're very impressive, Your Highness. Your suitors have amazing abilities, but, she asked. She could tell there was more he wanted to say. Well, Jake hesitated. They all seemed to rely on their power to solve problems. Big weapons, magic abilities, perfect unity. But what happens when those things aren't enough? What do you mean? Dr. Lisa leaned forward. On Earth, we have a saying. Necessity is the mother of invention. We've had to be creative because we don't have super weapons or magical powers. We've learned to do more with less. Tell me about your people, said the princess. Jake thought for a moment. We're not the strongest or the smartest species. We don't have crystal bodies or hive minds. But we don't give up easily. When we face a problem we can't solve with strength, we try to outsmart it. Give me an example. Well, said Ben, we once had a war where one side had much better weapons and more soldiers. The other side was smaller and weaker. But they used hit-and-run tactics, hiding in forests, attacking supply lines. They won by being smarter, not stronger. The princess listened carefully. This was different from what the other suitors had told her. Lisa pulled out a small device. This is a human medical scanner. It's not as advanced as ethereal healing powers, but it's simple, cheap, and easy to use. Any human can learn to operate it. We've saved millions of lives with devices like this. Your technology is humble, said the princess. Maybe, said Jake, but it works. And when it breaks, we can fix it. When we need it to do something new, we can change it. We built it to be flexible, not perfect. Princess Zarathiel found herself fascinated. The other suitors had shown her perfect solutions to every problem. But these humans talked about learning from failure, adapting to change, growing stronger through struggle. What about your military? She asked. How do humans fight wars? We try not to, said Jake honestly. But when we have to fight, we use our brains more than our weapons. We study our enemies. We find their weaknesses. We use teamwork and planning. We also try to understand why we're fighting. Added Lisa. Sometimes the best way to win a war is to make friends with your enemy. This was very different from Prince Kethvar's approach. He had talked only about destroying enemies, not understanding them. The princess spent the rest of the break talking with the humans. They told her stories about human history, art, and dreams. They talked about their mistakes as much as their successes. When the demonstrations started again, the alien suitors noticed the princess was not paying attention to them. She kept looking at the humans and smiling at their quiet conversations. Prince Kethvar was not pleased. After his second demonstration, he walked over to the human section. Princess, he said with a fake smile, surely you are not wasting time with these primitives when you could be learning about real power. I am learning, she said calmly. I am learning about different kinds of power. What power could these weak creatures possibly have? He laughed. They have no great weapons. No magic abilities. They are nothing compared to the Saurian Empire. Jake stood up slowly. He was much shorter than the lizard prince, but he did not back down. You're right, Prince Kethvar. We're not as strong as you are, but strength isn't the only thing that matters. Oh, what else could matter? Wisdom, creativity, the ability to change and grow, the strength to keep going when everything seems hopeless. Prince Kethvar snorted. Pretty words, but words don't win battles. Actually, they do, said Jake quietly. The right words at the right time can prevent battles. They can turn enemies into friends. They can solve problems that weapons never could. The princess watched this exchange with great interest. Prince Kethvar was getting angry, but Jake remained calm and confident. Other alien suitors came over to see what was happening. Soon a small crowd had gathered around the humans. This is ridiculous, said Commander Velthos. Princess, why waste time with beings who cannot even manipulate matter? Because, said the princess, surprising everyone, they manipulate something more important than matter. They manipulate ideas. They change minds. They adapt to anything. Duke Morgan buzzed angrily. Adaptation is inefficient. Perfection is better than change, Dr. Lisa smiled. But what happens when your perfect system meets a problem it wasn't designed for? What happens when you need to do something new? The aliens had no good answer for that question. As the day went on, more and more aliens found themselves drawn to the human section. The humans did not try to impress anyone. They just talked honestly about their experiences and ideas. Princess Zarathiel realized something important. All day she had watched the most powerful beings in the galaxy compete for her attention. They had shown her weapons that could destroy stars and abilities that seemed like magic. But the humans had shown her something none of the others possessed. They had shown her hope. Hope that problems could be solved. Hope that enemies could become friends. Hope that small, weak beings could accomplish great things through courage and cleverness. For the first time since the ceremony began, Princess Zarathiel felt truly interested in her choice. These humans might not have the most power, but they had something that might be more valuable. They had the power to inspire others to be better than they were. Prince Kethvar slammed his clawed fist on the table. The other alien suitors sat around him in the palace guest quarters. They were all angry and worried. This is an insult, he growled. The princess spends more time talking to those humans than to all of us combined. Commander Velthos nodded, his crystal body flashing red with anger. They are nothing. Weak creatures with primitive technology. How can she be interested in them? Because she has lost her mind, buzzed Duke Morgan. We must do something to show her how foolish this is. Prince Kethvar stood up. His huge frame cast shadows across the room. I have an idea. We will challenge these humans to prove their worth. When they fail, the princess will see them for what they really are. The next morning, Prince Kethvar requested a meeting with Princess Zarathiel and her council. The great throne room filled with curious onlookers. The alien suitors stood on one side. The three humans stood quietly on the other. Great princess, said Prince Kethvar with a formal bow, I propose a series of trials. Let all who seek your hand prove their worth through tests of skill, wisdom, and leadership. Elder Morthak looked interested. What kind of trials? 3 challenges, said the prince. First, a test of military strategy. Second, a test of technological innovation. Third, a test of leadership under pressure. The princess looked thoughtful. And you wish the humans to participate in these trials? If they dare, said Prince Kethvar with a nasty smile. Let them show the galaxy what human abilities are truly worth. Captain Jake Murphy stepped forward. Your Highness, we didn't come here as suitors. We're just observers. We don't want to cause any diplomatic problems. I understand your concern, Captain Murphy, said the princess, but I am curious to see how humans would handle such challenges. Jake looked at his 2 officers. Lisa and Ben both nodded slightly. They were willing to try. All right, said Jake. We'll participate. But we do this as representatives of humanity, not as suitors for your hand. Of course, said the princess, but there was something in her eyes that suggested she had other ideas. The first trial began that afternoon. It was a military simulation using holographic technology. Each team had to plan and execute a battle strategy. Prince Kethvar went first. His strategy was simple and direct. Massive fleets of warships attacked the enemy head-on. His weapons were powerful enough to blast through any defense. The simulation showed a quick, brutal victory. This is how the Saurian Empire conquers worlds, he announced proudly. Overwhelming force applied without mercy. Commander Velthos used a different approach. His forces used energy manipulation to turn the enemy's weapons against them. Enemy ships exploded from within as their own power cores were corrupted. It was elegant and effective. Duke Morgan's strategy relied on perfect coordination. Millions of small ships moved as one giant organism. They surrounded the enemy completely, making escape impossible. Victory came through superior numbers and flawless teamwork. Then it was Jake's turn. The other aliens watched with amusement. What could humans possibly do against such advanced tactics? Jake studied the simulation carefully. The enemy force was large and well-armed. A direct attack would fail. Energy manipulation wouldn't work with human technology. And humans didn't have millions of ships. But Jake noticed something the others had missed. The enemy was positioned to defend against frontal attacks. They expected their opponents to try to overpower them. Lisa, Ben, he said quietly, remember the Battle of Midway? His officers smiled. They knew exactly what he meant. Jake's strategy was different from all the others. Instead of attacking the main enemy fleet, he sent small groups to hit supply lines and communication centers. He used fake signals to confuse enemy scouts. He made the enemy think his main force was in one place while his real ships attacked from somewhere else. The enemy fleet was stronger than Jake's forces, but they couldn't fight effectively when they didn't know where the attacks were coming from. Confusion spread through their ranks. Ships fired at shadows while real threats slipped past their defenses. In the end, Jake's small force defeated the larger enemy through clever tactics and misdirection. He had won without destroying a single major enemy ship. The aliens stared in shock. This was not how space battles were supposed to work. Impossible, muttered Prince Kethvar. You had inferior numbers and weapons. How did you win? We didn't try to be stronger than the enemy, explained Jake. We tried to be smarter. We made them defeat themselves. The second trial was about technological innovation. Each team had to solve a specific problem using the resources available. The challenge was to provide clean water for a colony planet. The planet's water was poisoned by industrial chemicals. The colonists needed a solution fast or they would all die. Prince Kethvar's solution was to build a massive purification plant using Saurian technology. It would clean the water perfectly, but it would cost enormous amounts of money and take months to build. Commander Velthos offered to use ethereal powers to transform the poisoned water directly into pure water. It was instant and perfect, but it required constant attention from skilled ethereals. Duke Morgan proposed releasing billions of micro-robots into the water supply. They would eat the poison and excrete clean water. It was efficient, but the colonists would be drinking robot waste. Dr. Lisa Carter looked at the problem differently. She studied the type of poison and the local environment. Then she designed a simple biological filter using plants that grew naturally on the planet. These plants actually eat the poison, she explained. We modify them slightly to work faster. Then we build simple ponds where the plants can clean the water naturally. The system maintains itself and costs almost nothing. But it's so primitive, said Commander Velthos. Why use plants when you could use advanced technology? Because plants don't break down, said Lisa. They don't need rare materials or expert maintenance. The colonists can operate this system themselves forever. The aliens realized she was right. Her solution wasn't the most advanced, but it was the most practical. The third trial tested leadership under crisis. Each candidate was given a mixed team of different alien species and an emergency scenario to handle. Prince Kethvar tried to lead through intimidation and authority. He gave orders and expected immediate obedience. But the different species didn't trust each other, and they didn't understand his military thinking. Commander Velthos attempted to lead through superior knowledge. He tried to solve every problem himself using ethereal abilities. But when his powers weren't enough, the team didn't know what to do. Duke Morgan tried to impose hive mind unity on the group. He wanted everyone to think the same thoughts and work in perfect coordination. But the other species couldn't function that way. Lieutenant Ben Rodriguez took a different approach. Instead of trying to control his team, he listened to them. He asked each species what they were good at. He found ways to use everyone's strengths. When the Saurian wanted to fight, Ben gave him enemies to fight. When the ethereal wanted to solve puzzles, Ben gave him technical problems. When the hive members wanted to work together, Ben organized them into efficient groups. Leadership isn't about being the strongest or the smartest, Ben explained to the princess afterward. It's about bringing out the best in everyone around you. By the end of the third trial, something amazing had happened. The humans had won all three challenges, not through superior technology or natural abilities, but through creative thinking and understanding others. The alien suitors were furious. They had been embarrassed by a species they considered primitive and worthless. Princess Zarathiel, however, was fascinated. She had watched the humans solve problems in ways no one else had considered. They had succeeded where others failed, not by being stronger, but by being cleverer and more adaptable. That evening, she requested a private meeting with Captain Murphy. "Your people are remarkable," she said. "You have shown abilities I have never seen before." "We're just different," said Jake. "Not better or worse than anyone else. Just different." "Different in good ways," said the princess. "Your differences make you strong." Jake looked uncomfortable. "Your Highness, I hope you understand. We never intended to compete for your hand. We just wanted to show that humans deserve respect." Princess Zarathiel smiled. It was the first genuine smile anyone had seen from her since the ceremony began. "Captain Murphy," she said softly, "what if I told you that respect is not all I am interested in?" Jake stared at her in shock. Around the galaxy, he realized, everything was about to change. And for the first time since arriving at the Vorthak homeworld, he wasn't sure what to do next. Jake stared at Princess Zarathiel in complete shock. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the palace's energy systems. He could not believe what he had just heard. "Your Highness," he said carefully, "I think there might be some misunderstanding here." The princess moved closer to him. Her purple skin seemed to glow in the soft light. "There is no misunderstanding, Captain Murphy. In 3 days I will announce my choice for marriage. I want that choice to be you." Jake felt his heart racing. "But I'm just a human. We've only known each other for a few days. This could start a war between Earth and every other civilization in the galaxy. Let me tell you something about the Vorthak Empire," she said, sitting down across from him. "We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. We have the best technology, the strongest military, the richest worlds. But do you know what we don't have?" Jake shook his head. "We don't have dreams anymore. We achieved everything we wanted long ago. Now we just maintain what we have. We've become Comfortable, safe, boring. She walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Every alien species that asked for my hand today made the same offer. They promised to make us stronger, richer, more powerful, but none of them promised to make us grow. I still don't understand, said Jake. Your people have been in space for only 5 years, she continued, but in that time you've explored more systems, made more discoveries, and solved more problems than some civilizations do in centuries. You do this not because you have great technology, but because you refuse to give up. Jake joined her at the window. We explore because we're curious. We solve problems because we have to. We don't give up because we're too stubborn to know when we're beaten. Princess Zarathiel smiled. Exactly. The galaxy has forgotten how to be curious, how to take risks, how to grow. But humans remember these things. You could teach us to dream again. And you want to marry me because of that? I want to marry you because when I talk to you, I feel something I haven't felt in years. I feel excited about the future. I feel like tomorrow might bring something wonderful and unexpected. Jake was quiet for a long moment. Your Highness, Zara, this is moving very fast, and there will be consequences. Big ones, I know, she said softly, but some things are worth the risk. Outside the room, neither of them noticed the small listening device that Prince Kethvar had placed near the window. The Saurian prince heard every word of their conversation. His eyes blazed with anger as he listened. The next morning brought chaos. Prince Kethvar had shared the recording with all the other alien suitors. They were furious and terrified. The idea of a human marrying into the most powerful family in the galaxy was unthinkable. They called an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council representatives who were present for the ceremony. The council chamber filled with angry voices. This is an outrage, declared Ambassador Kretal of the Rigelian Federation. Humans are primitive barbarians. They have no place in galactic leadership. The princess has clearly lost her mind, added Senator Vormak from the Centauri Republic. Someone must stop this madness before it destroys everything we have built. Prince Kethvar stood at the center of the chamber. I call for an immediate vote. The Galactic Council must formally forbid this marriage. If Princess Zarathiel chooses a human, the Vorthak Empire should be expelled from all diplomatic relations. Many council members nodded in agreement. The thought of humans gaining access to Vorthak technology and power scared them. Humans were unpredictable. They might change everything, but Elder Morthak of the Vorthak Empire was not intimidated. You forget yourselves, he said in a voice like thunder. The Vorthak Empire does not take orders from anyone. Princess Zarathiel will choose her own mate, and the Empire will support her choice. Even if that choice destroys the peace of the galaxy, asked Ambassador Kretal. Especially then, said Elder Morthak firmly. Peace without growth is just another form of death. Meanwhile, Captain Murphy sat in his quarters with Dr. Carter and Lieutenant Rodriguez. He had told them everything about his conversation with the princess. This is insane, said Lisa. If she chooses you, every alien government will see Earth as a threat. They'll want to destroy us before we get too powerful. And if you say no to her, added Ben, we might lose the friendship of the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Either way, Earth is in trouble. Jake rubbed his forehead. I never signed up for this. I just wanted to explore space and make some friends along the way. What do you want to do? Asked Lisa. Honestly, I want to get back on our ship and go home. This is too big for me to handle. Ben looked at his captain seriously. But what about her? She's putting everything on the line for this. Her position, her empire, maybe even her life. She's doing it because she believes in something. She believes in us, said Lisa quietly. In humanity. In what we could become together. Jake was quiet for a long time. Finally, he stood up. I need to talk to her again. I need to understand what she really wants. But when Jake arrived at the princess's quarters, he found them surrounded by Vorthak guards. They would not let him pass. Orders from Elder Morthak, said the guard captain. The princess is not allowed visitors until after the ceremony. Jake realized what was happening. The political pressure was getting too strong. Even the Vorthak leadership was starting to worry about the consequences of the princess's choice. That evening, the situation got worse. A message arrived from Earth. President Collins had heard about the situation through diplomatic channels. His message was brief and direct. Captain Murphy, you are ordered to withdraw from the marriage ceremony immediately. Do nothing that could endanger Earth's relationship with the galactic community. That is a direct order. Jake stared at the message for a long time. His duty was clear. He was supposed to follow orders and protect Earth's interests, but he kept thinking about Princess Zarathiel, about her dream of bringing growth and change back to the galaxy, about her willingness to risk everything for what she believed in. He thought about all the aliens who had dismissed humans as primitive and worthless, about all the times he had been told that humans didn't belong in the galactic community. Maybe it was time to show them what humans were really capable of. Jake made his decision. He would not withdraw. If Princess Zarathiel wanted to choose him, he would accept. Whatever consequences came after, they would face them together. But first, he had to find a way to see her again. And he had to prepare for what would surely be the biggest fight of his life, because tomorrow was the day of the ceremony. Tomorrow, Princess Zarathiel would make her choice known to the galaxy. And tomorrow, everything would change. Outside his window, Jake could see alien warships gathering in orbit. Some belonged to the suitors. Others belonged to their governments. All of them carried the same message. If the princess chose a human, there would be war. Jake looked up at the stars and thought about Earth, about the small blue world where humanity was just beginning to reach for the cosmos, about all the people counting on him to make the right choice. He just hoped he was strong enough to make the choice that was right for everyone. But deep in his heart, Jake knew there was no choice that would make everyone happy. Tomorrow he would have to decide what kind of future he wanted to help create. A future of safety and tradition, or a future of growth and change. The decision would affect not just him and the princess, but the entire galaxy. The morning of the ceremony brought dark clouds over the Vorthak Palace. Jake stood at his window watching alien warships position themselves in the sky. More ships arrived every hour. The galaxy was holding its breath. Dr. Carter knocked on his door. "Jake, you need to see this." She handed him a communication device showing news broadcasts from across the galaxy. Every major news network was covering the story. The headlines were not good. Human threatens galactic stability. Primitive species seeks ultimate power. War looms over royal marriage choice. It gets worse, said Lisa. 3 different alien fleets are demanding permission to protect galactic civilization by removing us from the planet. Lieutenant Rodriguez joined them. Our ship is surrounded. If things go bad today, we're not leaving this world. Jake nodded grimly. Then we better make sure things don't go bad. Across the palace, Princess Zarathiel prepared for the most important day of her life. Her advisors had spent all night trying to change her mind. My princess, pleaded Elder Morthak, choosing the human will mean war. Half the galaxy has threatened to attack us if you make this choice. Then we will fight, she said calmly as servants helped her into her ceremonial robes. Against the entire galaxy, even our power has limits. Princess Zarathiel looked at her reflection in the mirror. The golden robes made her purple skin glow like starlight. She looked like a goddess, but she felt like a woman making the hardest choice of her life. Elder Morthak, how long has our empire ruled the galaxy? 10,000 years, my princess. And in all that time, have we ever grown? Have we ever become more than we were? The old advisor was quiet. We have been rulers for so long that we forgot how to be explorers. We became so powerful that we stopped trying to become better. The human Captain Murphy reminded me what it feels like to dream of tomorrow. But the cost of growth is always high, she said. But the cost of staying the same is higher. We will become extinct through our own success. The ceremony hall filled with beings from across the galaxy. The alien suitors sat in the front rows, confident that the princess would come to her senses. Behind them sat representatives from dozens of governments, all watching carefully. In the very back sat the 3 humans. They looked small and out of place, but they held their heads high. Princess Zarathiel entered the hall wearing the crown of stars. Everyone stood as she walked to the center of the room. The crown held gems from every world in the Vorthak Empire. It had been worn by 100 rulers over 10,000 years. Citizens of the galaxy, she began, today I choose my life companion. This choice will affect not just me, but the future of interstellar civilization. The alien suitors leaned forward. Each one still believed he might be chosen. I have listened to many offers of alliance. I have been promised wealth, power, and military strength. Each suitor has shown me the greatest achievements of their people. Prince Kethavar smiled confidently. His fleet was the largest in orbit, but I have not chosen based on power or wealth. I have chosen based on something more important. I have chosen based on the ability to grow, to change, to become something greater tomorrow than we are today. Commander Velthos began to look worried. This was not going the way he expected. Some of you will say my choice is foolish. You will say I am choosing weakness over strength. But you are wrong. I am choosing the future over the past. The hall became very quiet. Everyone knew what was coming. I choose Captain Jake Murphy of Earth to be my husband and co-ruler of the Vorthak Empire. The silence lasted exactly 3 seconds. Then chaos erupted. Prince Kethavar roared in rage. This is an insult to every civilized species in the galaxy. Commander Velthos stood up, his crystal body flashing angry red. You doom us all with this madness. Duke Morgan's buzzing became so loud it hurt people's ears. The human contamination must be stopped. But before anyone could do anything violent, Elder Morthak activated the hall's defense systems. Energy barriers separated the different sections, preventing anyone from reaching the princess or the humans. The choice has been made, he announced. According to Vorthak law, it is final and binding. Outside the palace, the alien fleets began moving into attack positions. Admiral Zektor of the Saurian Navy sent a message to the palace. Surrender the humans immediately, or we will take them by force. Princess Zarathiel responded with her own message. Broadcast to every ship in orbit. Any attack on this world will be considered an act of war against the Vorthak Empire. We will defend our guests and our princess's choice with all our power. The standoff lasted for 6 tense hours. Weapons were charged. Shields were raised. The galaxy waited to see who would fire the first shot. Then something unexpected happened. Captain Murphy requested permission to broadcast a message to all the ships. Against the advice of her generals, Princess Zarathiel agreed. Jake's image appeared on every screen in every ship. He looked tired but determined. My name is Jake Murphy, he began. I never asked to be part of this situation. I came here as an observer, not as a suitor. But sometimes life gives you choices you never expected. The alien commanders listened despite themselves. You're all angry because you think humans are trying to take power from you. But that's not what this is about. This is about something much more important than power. Jake paused, looking directly into the camera. Princess Zarathiel didn't choose me because humans are strong or smart or advanced. She chose me because we represent something the galaxy has forgotten. We represent hope. Hope for what? Demanded Admiral Zektor over the communication channel. Hope that tomorrow can be better than today. Hope that we can solve problems we've never faced before. Hope that different species can work together instead of fighting each other. Jake gestured toward the camera. Look around you. Right now, dozens of different civilizations are preparing to destroy each other over a marriage ceremony. Is this really the future you want for your children? Some of the ships began powering down their weapons. The princess is offering something new, a partnership between species that could benefit everyone. But if you attack us now, you'll destroy that chance forever. Commander Velthos spoke over the channel. What kind of partnership? Princess Zarathiel took the microphone from Jake. We propose the creation of exploration zones throughout the galaxy. Places where different species can work together to explore new worlds, develop new technologies, and solve new problems. Humans would lead these zones, added Jake. Not because we're better than anyone else, but because we're good at adapting to new situations. We're good at bringing different groups together. Elder Morthak stepped forward. The Vorthak Empire offers full access to our technology and resources for any species that joins these exploration zones. Together, we can rediscover the joy of discovery. For several minutes, no one spoke. The alien commanders discussed the proposal among themselves. Finally, Admiral Zektor broke the silence. This is not what we came here expecting. The best things in life rarely are, said Jake. One by one, the alien fleets began standing down. Not all of them. Some ships left orbit entirely, their commanders too angry to accept the new arrangement. But most remained, their commanders curious about this strange new possibility. 3 months later, Jake stood in the same ceremonial hall. But this time, he wore Vorthak royal robes alongside his human uniform. Princess Zarathiel stood beside him as they exchanged wedding vows in front of representatives from 40 different species. Do you, Jake Murphy of Earth, promise to rule with wisdom and courage? I do, he said, looking into his bride's eyes. Do you, Zarathiel of Vorthak, promise to lead with compassion and vision? I do, she said, squeezing his hand. Elder Morthak smiled as he pronounced them married. May your union bring growth and prosperity to all the galaxy's children. As they kissed, Jake thought about how much had changed. The first exploration zone was already under construction in the Centauri system. Humans and Vorthak worked alongside Ethereals and even some reformed Saurians to build something entirely new. Not everyone was happy with the changes. Some alien governments still refused to recognize the marriage or participate in the exploration zones. But every day, more species joined the partnership. Dr. Carter had been appointed Director of Interspecies Science Exchange. Lieutenant Rodriguez commanded the new multi-species security force. Even Earth's government, after initial shock, had embraced the opportunities the partnership offered. That night, as Jake and Zarathiel walked through the palace gardens, she asked him a question. Do you ever regret accepting my proposal? Your life would have been much simpler if you had said no. Jake looked up at the stars where human and alien ships worked together to build the future. Simple isn't always better. Besides, someone once told me that the best things in life are rarely what we expect. Zarathiel laughed. Who told you that? Some guy I married, Jake said with a grin as they walked under the alien stars. Jake reflected on the strange journey that had brought him here. He had come to the Vorthak homeworld as a simple ship captain from a primitive world. He was leaving as co-ruler of the galaxy's greatest empire, but more than that, he was leaving as proof that sometimes the most important power isn't the ability to destroy or control. Sometimes the most important power is the ability to inspire others to become better than they.